Good evening. Good evening from Asian Confluence.
Good
India is
evening.
celebrating 75 years of independence. At the same time, we are also celebrating 75 years of our progress, of the way in which we have shown our resilience, and we are making our way forward in the Committee of Nations. As the world sleeps, India shall wake to life and freedom. Today, as part of that series, we are in conversation with Professor B.B. Datta, former Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha. This is a conversation which is part of the ASCON Conversation series to celebrate 75 years of independence and reminisce about 75 years of Indian partition. Asian Confluence, a third space initiative, is determined to recover grassroots voices about the tragedy of Indian partition and the resilience of the Indian nation and its citizens in the making of modern India. Professor B.B. Datta is from the generation of partition survivors who have risen from the grassroots to the heights of Indian politics and policy making and contributed immensely to the making of post partition India. This conversation is part of the Nadi series, which is designed to be part of a year long conversation. River is a metaphor for the flow of time. Today, as we engage with Professor Datta, we begin on the banks of the river Dholai in Maulavi Bazar and unfold before all of us here the story of his life and times. This conversation is built around three basic themes: his childhood memories and memories of partition, the emergence of New India, and finally, the relevance of partition survivor narratives in today's time and age. Good evening, sir. Welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
Sir, to begin the conversation, may we take you to your childhood? Tell us something about your childhood, the place, the land, the time that you grew up, and how you actually saw the coming of Indian independence and the experience of partition.
I was born in a village. The name of the village is Choykut, means 6 houses of Bhadralok. You know, gentlemen, 6 gentlemen's house. This village was designed according to our ancient caste system, which made each village what has been described by the Western observers as a republic. A village is a republic. It was made in that fashion. I tell you, there are 6 houses in row, and to aid them, there were dhubis, washermen, there were muchis, cobblers, there were, you see, buddhas, those who used to do the barber's work. There were Shukla Buddhas and Chandra Buddhas. there were, you call this, those mm, those who are artists in Shulokolas, uh, Devnathan, Devnath. So all these made a beautiful village on the bank of River Dholai. I was born there. When partition came, I was in my teens. So I have a vivid memory of what transpired at that time.
Yes, sir, but tell us more about it.
Huh?
Tell us more about this partition experience. You know, as India was moving towards independence, you know, what do you remember about it? How do you, located in Maulavi Bazar, what was your experience of partition and the coming in of independence?
You see, when partition took place, I was in my teens. So I do remember what happened. My father, Brajendra Kumar Datta, and my uncle, the elder brother of my father, Bashanta Kumar Datta, they were all Congress supporters. And obviously, in our house, people used to come and go. People of all political parties, those who are followers of Gandhi, non-violent method of achieving independence, those who are supporter of Subhash Chandra Bose, those who are supporter of the communist parties, all people used to come and stay in our house in the night, sometimes even one day more, and they are used to take discussion between all of them. So our house was this kind of a conduit. I used to listen to them. My uncle Basanta Kumar Datta, he had only 5 daughters. He did not have a son. I was like a son to him. So my used to take bath with him. I used to take food with him. He always kept me near him. Though I was not formally adopted, I was like a child of his own. And my sisters also recognized that is how I grew up. So I used to listen to this conversation, and that is how I came to know a lot about what is happening in partition.
Sir, what about when you're talking about the Congress, the Communist Party? Sir, do you remember something about the Jamiatis, the Jamiatul Ulema Hind?
Yes, you see, see, Congress means all the non-Muslims, including Jamiatul Ulema Hind. They did not want partition. They belong to this Deobandi group, and they had a very strong following also. They joined the Congress party rallies, meetings in all places, be it in a hut, be in the marketplace. You know, every week, twice there are market days. There, while the those who are wanted Islam to be the dream state of Islam to be born in East Pakistan. you see, in Pakistan, that is eastern side of Pakistan. They used to preach that way, but these people used to preach the other way. So I remember those things, that these preachings are normally followed by, you see, a lot of subsequent discussions in various places. While the Muslims were discussing in their mosques every Friday, and from there the mosques are being used as virtually a place for giving directions how the voters should act. That every Muslim, if he is a Muslim, then he should go by the tenets of Islam, and he should vote for Pakistan. Similarly, the non-Muslim lobbyists, including these Deobandis, Jammiyatul Ulema Hind, they would say, no, why should it not happen? Because select referendum, you see, which came as the Assam Bengal partition result, you see, they said, no, it cannot happen like this. We want to remain in India because it is in India that we can live a much larger, fuller life. You see, that they used to recite the poem of Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, saying, "Bholo bholo bolshove শতবিনা বেরুবে ভারত আবার জগৎ সেবার শ্রেষ্ঠ আসন লবে ধর্মে মহান হবে কর্মে মহান হবে." These kind of songs were sung. যেখানে হিন্দু, বৌদ্ধ, খ্রিস্টান, জাতি, উপজাতি, জনজাতি, আদিবাসী, হ্যাঁ, সান্তাল, ভিল, কুল, সবাইকে নিয়ে আমরা বাস করব, সেই গানগুলা গাওয়া হতো। কাজেই এই ধরনের চর্চা চলতো, এবং সাবসিকুয়েন্টলি এগুলা বাড়িতে গিয়ে গ্রুপে গ্রুপে চর্চা হতে থাকতো, গ্রুপ বাই গ্রুপ, গ্রুপ বাই গ্রুপ, ভিলেজ বাই ভিলেজ, পরগনা বাই পরগনা। It continues like this.
Sir, but sir, just one thing that we find out. You think the Jamiyatis, the Congress, they also participated in this kind of a campaign? Did the Jamiyatis, the Congress, the communists also participate in this kind of a campaign through songs, through slogans in Sylhet?
Yes. They did. They did, excepting a few exceptions. But these are very, very, very little. I tell you, by and large, all did that. It was a wave. Nobody could resist it.
Sir, what about, tell us a little about the participation of people. About the participation of people in this movement. You said that the Muslim League was organizing this movement in the mosque. You know, they used to discuss it in the mosque. The Congress, they would campaign through the songs of Rabindranath Tagore. Sir, tell us more about how common people, you are very, very young, your father, your uncle, how other people in and around, your neighbors participated in it?
They also participated in I tell you, in the village huts. There are 2 market days. Every week there are 2 market days where people from all walks of life, from all over the surrounding place, 4, 5, 7, 8 kilometers, 10 kilometers, people used to come. And there the Congress party would address them also. So it is there. Muslim also did, but Congress party also did. And I remember, you see, that one particular group, we call them Mahimal. There is those who are fisher. Those Namashudras in our Hindu society, Namashudras who specialize in fishing trade. They catch fish, they rear fish, they bring fish to the market, they sell. A part of them became Mahimal when they became Muslims, converted to Muslims because of this rigorous strictures of caste system. they found some kind of emancipation. But Mahimals, even today, if you go to Karimganj, even today, you will find that the Mahimals are there and they always vote for Congress. They always vote for Congress that they wanted to remain with Hindu India because their customers are all Hindus.
Yes,
Because
sir. Sir, so what about the Maimals? They also participated in the campaign?
who?
The Maimals?
Maimals, huh?
You were talking about Maimals and Koibartos. So you are talking about the fisher communities.
Yeah.
So what about the fisher communities?
Fisher community, they participated and they are with they wanted to remain in India, not to Pakistan.
All the rivers.
Even today, they are stick to the same position.
And what about the voting, sir? When the campaign took place, tell us something about the voting.
Voting, they did vote. They did vote for. They did vote for this remaining with India. I can give you the exact figure of voting which I recorded. Deep, you can give the exact voting figure. Do it quickly. I have noted it down.
Sir, yeah. But tell us more. Do you remember the voting day?
Hmm?
Do you remember what happened on the day of voting?
On the day of voting, what happened? I tell you that voting was largely, I tell you, peaceful. Though some gundas were sent from the other side of West Pakistan to create problem, but they did not succeed. They did not succeed. They could not create much impact. A few incidents were there, but barring these few incidents, by and large, it was peaceful.
And what happened after the voting was over?
After the voting was over, they had to wait for results. Results was supposed to come, I think, after 3 or 4 days. Result. What is the exact number of days?
Sir, I think the voting took place on the 6th and 7th of July 1947. And probably the results came in by 12th of July 1947.
After yes. Yes, correct.
So, sir, now that the results are in, and Indians were preparing for independence, tell us what was the mood in Maulavi Bazar. You are watching the situation in Maulavi Bazar. Tell us what was the situation in Maulavi Bazar. What is the mood of the people?
You see, according to the declaration of Lord Mountbatten, the Viceroy, Maulavi Bazar was a Hindu majority, largely a Hindu majority area, and 13 thanas, to be precise, 13 police stations of Maulavi Bazar, which was a subdivision then, you see, were invariably to come to India, whatever was the result. Now, these 13 thanas also did not come, that was the tragedy. It did not come, why I tell you, because actually Lord Mountbatten has come from London with a partition plan ready in his hand. And the famous Mr. Radcliffe, a great geographer, he never visited India before. He did not see India, but he see India only in the maps. And his job was, his assignment was that to see that Pakistan became a viable state. And therefore, Chittagong port has to be given to them because Kordofali River has to be given to them. So this Rangamati area where there was no Muslim at all, what a beautiful state. There was no reason why it should go to Pakistan. So all these were given to Pakistan. Well, this Pakistan. When BP Menon pointed out that how did it go? Jawaharlal Nehru just petted him and told him, "Don't interfere. Let them do the job." That was the story.
And so Hindu majority areas went into Pakistan.
Yeah. Only four, only four Thanas, only four Thanas remained with India, and that is uh, Karimganj, North this Kachar, that is Silchar, and North Kachar Hills, and Hailakandi again. That's what we went.
Sir, what were you doing then? Oh, we have heard the history, but tell us something about what you were doing in 1947 when all these things were happening. Tell us something about your life.
Now, I was not doing anything. I was at that time. I cannot make things happen. I was only listening, learning what is happening. I remember a story that you see, Onongo Onongo Mohan Dam. He, when he found that this mischief is taking place, he went to Delhi, met Sardar Patel, and told him that this is the wrong that has been done. See the declaration of Mountbatten about 13 thanas and see what they have done here, giving only four. And the Hindu majority areas unnecessarily gone. Then he said, "You have come too late because Mountbatten had already made a declaration, but let me try to see what can I do." Then he tried to save something, and the end result was only this. Otherwise, it was also gone. The end result was only this, that these four thanas I'm telling you.
Sir, let us now move beyond 1947, 15th of August, and tell us something about what you perceive or how you look at the making of modern India. India, a young nation born after partition on the 15th of August. Tell us about what you think about the journey of India from 15th of August onwards.
You see, when partition occurred and we found that we are in Pakistan, you see, my father, my uncle, they were very worried as to what will happen. So there was, I remember the story they discussed in the house. You see, from our house, land was donated, a patshala was made, teacher's salary used to be given, and it got recognition. It was a famous patshala where we read. They wanted to upgrade this patshala, make it an ME school or a high school, and they thought that I should be the right person to become its secretary, headmaster, and also play a role uh, for spreading education there. Now, what happened? They always thought that Mahatma Gandhi, who Mountbatten describes his one-man boundary force who went to Noakhali to stop the riot and created wonder. Jawaharlal Nehru visited Mahatma Gandhi in Noakhali, those information came. So they always thought Mahatma Gandhi is the best security for the minorities in Pakistan. But when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, there was a gloom. You cannot describe it. It was as thick as anything. You can cut it like ice. So such was the thickness of the gloom. So I remember the conversation at that time. When Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, Jinnah described it is a terrible loss for Hindus. But in Molvi Bazaar, there were people, I remember the name of Inamullah and Inayatullah. They declared that no, in Mahatma Gandhi's death is a great loss for all of us and we should mourn the death. So they started down the shutters and they observed it. This is in contrast with Jinnah's concept of Pakistan and this select Muslims concept of Pakistan, spearheaded by. So this is how it happened. I came home and then this planning was done. So my family thought that I should go and study in Molvi Azhar after I finished my ME school classes. It is about to be finished, and stay there. Stay there and be in the house. And they also thought that my elder brother, who was in Karimganj College at that time, Karimganj College had become a famous college because all the great professors of MC College Select have come to Karimganj College, many of them. So he was studying there, and from there he uh, passed his ISC and went to Calcutta. So they said, let him be there. My younger brother, Vinay, he was also, we are three brothers. He is also to be sent there, and only I should remain. So this is how it all started. But when you see what happened in this bridge of Bhairav, that train was stopped over the bridge and all Hindus were stabbed and their bodies were thrown into the Ganges. I think it was river.
It was in 1950.
Yes, yeah, that killing. Okay? That that gave a realization to our family that the Pakistanis have decided one thing: they will marry the daughters of the Hindus to their Muslim boys, and the Hindu boys will be killed. That is how suddenly my uncle came to. I have just appeared in Kashinath School, Kashinath High School, the famous school at that time. Now it is also a very famous school. So I have just given the half yearly examinations in class 7, but suddenly my uncle came and said, "You need not do anything, come with me right now." So he took me out and took to the village. I stayed the night in the village, and then the next night we went to our next railway station, Shamshan Nagar. Eh? There our some relations from Madhapur, they came and gave us the food and everything cooked for us. And in the early morning, we went to this Latu, this border station, to go over to India. They wanted to send them because they have rang up one of my maternal uncle, Naresh Chandra Vishwas. He was a Second World War contractor. He has earned a lot of money. He has got a very good place for himself in Silchar. So they rang him up and they said that this is what has happened. So we want to send this boy. He said, send him to me. I'll take care of it. So this is how I landed in Karimganj. But there is a story I tell you. When I went in the border Latu, you see the way the Hindus were being treated at the border checkpost by the people. They are self-styled people who are examining papers. So one of our village You see, our Didi's husband, I call Chameli Didi, her husband, he was slept right and late. His papers, everything were money bag, everything taken. And I felt very bad. I thought it is a slap against humanity. I This has stuck to my memory very sadly. So when my uncle's turn came, then somebody introduced my uncle that he is so and so, he is so and so. My uncle was a very famous man, very highly respected all over. The gentleman suddenly turned became Biran. He says, "Oh yes, 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 don't worry." So all his papers were passed. He said, "No, no, no, there is no problem." Then he requested that this boy whom paper you have taken, he is from my village. I can wash it for him. Please. He said, I did not know that. He did not. Come, 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 come. So everything was given back. This is the other side of the picture. You see? This is how I came to Karimgunj State in the night. Next in the morning, my uncle took me to Silchar and deposited me there in the house of Naresh Prashas. And it is there at Silchar that my life started as a student from Pakistan, but now I become a student. There is also a story because my uncle told one uh, one teacher who is from Hobiganj, Datta. हाँ, Mirashi का Datta है. His name is I'm forgetting his name, Datta. He told him that you kindly see that my to get admission there. So he told Suresh Chakraborty, who was a very famous teacher at that time. He was a classmate of uh, Jayaprakash Narayan. They used to study in say Hazaribagh College, and a very famous man. So he says, no, 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 no. No, all people coming from Bangladesh, East Pakistan, they are all joiners. They are all very brilliant students, but we have got bitter experience. I cannot speak like this. It is not possible. Then he narrated the story to my uncle. Then uncle said that why don't you tell him that let him take an examination. He asked me, are you ready to study? I said, I can sit for examinations, no problem. So he told me that you sit for an examination. Then he says that kindly allow you to sit for examination. Naresh Vishwas is such a respectable gentleman. And if you think that he cannot be admitted in class 7, you admit him in class 6, or you don't admit him at all. But what is the harm in taking an examination? Then he said, take only 2 subjects. You take English and Girija Chakraborty was a famous mathematics and Sanskrit teacher. Very, very famous. When he used to teach mathematics, it was music. You see. Yeah. So they took my examination. After my examination was taken, I was asked by that Sukumar Datta, his name was Sukumar Datta, that the headmaster Mosai is calling you. So I went to his room. When I went to him, he rose from his chair and had a look at me and he said, yes, there is so much of brightness in your appearance. You have done very well. All the sums that have been given to you are 100% correct. All the English grammar papers, etc., essay given, everything is 100%. There is no single mistake. Where did you study? Then I told my headmaster Gopendra Chandra Das of Munshi Bajar ME School. He says, yes, 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 sir. I know. Then he said, who taught you arithmetic, mathematics, all these things? And who told you who taught you English? He asked me. He said, I know. From that day, I got admission at once. My roll number was 45. Now, classes were arranged in those days that 45 has to sit just at the end of the first boy, second boy, like this. The seats were arranged in the school accordingly. So I went and I sat at towards the end, and there was another boy who joined. His name is Shama Prasad Gupta. Till today, he is a great friend of mine and all his family members. It is a lifelong association. His number was either 44 or 46. Mine was 45. 45. So we were sitting. One day, the headmaster, normally he does not come to take classes. One day, because of somebody's absence, he came to the class and he asked a question. He used to do like this. He said, আরো অনেকে পাস করিতে পারিত বলো 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 আর then nobody was able to আরো অনেকে he didn't know how to start the sentence. So then I said, he asked me, can you say? They were all surprised. So I said, more and more could have passed. He said, you have come near. He said, many more could have passed has the question been structured well. So this is how one day, only one day he came to class. Later on, he told me that Washini Chandra, great Chandra family, Kamini Chandra's family, Chandra's family, that Washini Chandra wants somebody, a student, to read out statesman paper to him. Because he was fond of statesman was a great paper in those times. So he says, you are the right person and you go and you normally go to your maternal uncle's Maurice Bishop's pharmacy, the warm pharmacy. It is also in their house, just adjacent to their house on the outside. So when you go there, you go and sit with him. You will learn a lot. You will learn a lot. I wish you okay. So I came, and in Washini Chandra was so happy that I was reading the statesman paper so well. Then he again asked me, where did you study? I told him, he said, very good. Then he introduced me to Jyotsna Chandra, who was a member of parliament at that time. It is here that I saw Anil Chandra. He used to come sometimes. And that was a great story. That is how it started. It is here that I saw S.K. Dotto ICS's mother, father.
Sir, just one small point here. Sir, what do you remember of Silchar at that particular point of time in the kind of politics, the kind of situation immediately after independence, when you were there? And what is it that you remember of Silchar immediately after independence?
You see, immediately after independence,
I mean, when you came down there, when you were there in Silchar,
yes,
what do you remember?
There was a strong Hindu feeling at that time. You see, that they wanted that the Muslims from these areas should go. That was the mood. That was the mood.
And what about the refugees?
The refugees are accepted. The refugees have to be accepted. Muslims have to go vacate their houses, and this should be given to the Hindus. This was the additional colonies. I remember in Meherpur, in Meherpur was also set up at that time. Then there was Gungur, there was Ashgram. All these areas, additional refugee camps, houses are set up. They are given allotment of the houses. They are given some monthly monthly assistance also.
Yeah, there were a lot of refugee camps, sir. There was Pachgram, there was Bodorpur Ghat. All these camps were there.
Yes, Bodhpur Ghat, you see, Bodhpur Ghat camps, you see, it starts from right from Jointe Hills here, where you have got this Kali, famous Kali temple. Then you go to Clary Hat, then you go there just at the border between uh, uh, Jointe Hills and where the Kachar district starts. There is a Kali temple also. So all the way, all the way it was gone up to Bhanga. Up to then you cross the river, then Bhanga, this house of combination, famous house of the Shen house, combination, Shoshishen, Saptoshen, their house. There was also a Kali temple. So from there you come to Karimganj. Karimganj on the way you enter, there is the big Kali temple. You see, where the Pal Chaudhurys every year, and even today, make a big gathering and puja is done. Then you enter Karimganj town, you see the Karimganj Bazaar. Then you come to the Kali temple uh, in Karimganj itself. Uh, it was towards the subdivisional officers near the quarter that side, Kali temple. So all these are there.
So, tell us something about your visit to these areas as a young boy? What is it that had a lasting impact? Were you influenced to do public service, politics? Looking at the condition of the people there.
You see, with all these experiences, I graduated. I graduated from St. Edmund's College. All these are my experiences. This is what I learned. I came to Meghalaya. You see, I went from Silchar to Karimganj. From Karimganj, I came to Guwahati to sit as a non-collegiate uh, uh, because my percentage fell short, you see. Huh? So there I sat in Cotton College examinations, and at that time in Guwahati, my God, the fury against the Sileti Hindus was so strong. You see, Hindus are being beaten right and left. A lot of cases of murder, etc., here and there have taken places. But my classmate, Amalindu Bhattacharya, is known as Kedu. He was a very fearless boy. He actually, whenever some such attack was attempted to us, he beat them thoroughly because he was so smart in these games. And uh, his own brother-in-law, one was an DSP in Railway Protection Force. So he used to stay there, and they could not approach him. So we were very careful. So later on, we gave our examination. Then I came to Shillong. I came to Shillong, and he went back to Karimganj. He went back to Karimganj, and later on his story became different. Today also we are in touch. He's still alive. He's in Calcutta. We are still great friends. All our boyhood friends, classmates, our lifelong friends. We have never forgotten each other. We maintain a very good brotherhood even today. So this is how this is how it happened. I came to Meghalaya, and it is in Meghalaya that when the sub-state was declared, Mrs. Gandhi gave a sub-state in 1967. At that time, you see, Captain Williamson Sangma, B.B. Lingo, and that Reverend J.J.M. Nichols Rai's son,
Stanley T.T. Nichols Roy.
Daniel Nichols Rai, they held a meeting in the Pinewood Hotel. And they called that some of the young people should meet them and they will apprise that there is no fear for the Bengali refugees. There is no threat to them. So I was also selected. I went there and then Captain Sangma asked me question, tell us, what are the kind of protections you want? So everybody was keeping quiet. Then I said, sir, what you have become the Chief Minister of a sub-state. Why should I ask for the kind of protection I want? You decide. You decide how you can protect us. We'll go by you. Whatever you say will follow. You see, that created stuck a note in Captain Sangma's heart, and he took notice of me. Later on, I was called alone. And they said, will you work with us? Like, yes. That is how I started my journey with Captain Williamson Sangma and V.V. Lingdo, Stanley Nichols Roy. And I tell you, it is here that I found the beauty of the tribal democracy. They never take a decision without discussing their village people, their elders, their Nokmas. They discuss all, they argue, they ask questions, they explain, they carry them, then they finally decide. It is such a beautiful democracy, you see, which has been described earlier by some writers, British as well as non-British, beautifully. Among the Gilbert Sly, then our Moham Singh's brother-in-law, Moham himself. All these people have described all this beautifully. Timpang Singh. So this is how I started my journey, and I became Captain Sangma made me the General Secretary of the Congress Coordination Committee when Congress got divided between Brahmananda Reddy's Congress and Indira Gandhi's Congress. And Indira Gandhi created a party, Indira Congress. So they joined the undivided Congress. There was a dilemma, what to do. So Captain Sangma told me, you go to Delhi and find out what is happening and report back to us. He also sent R.C. Chiten Jamir from Nagaland to go to Delhi and find out how he is an Neta, how find what is in Delhi. So he gave his report, I also gave my report. And I told him that, sir, it is Indira Gandhi who will ultimately win. And then he said, you do one thing. My great friend Jyotirmoy Basu, that great communist leader, Jyotirmoy Basu is in Calcutta, you come via Calcutta, meet Jyotirmoy Basu and tell him that I have sent you and ask him what should you do. Then I met Jyotirmoy Basu, mentioning the name of Captain Sangha. He says, come quickly. I said, there are Indrajit Gupta and he was sitting. Indrajit Gupta, the CPI, great CPI leader who became the Home Minister of India. And they told me that, look here, the moment Indira Gandhi decided to split and make a Congress party in her own name, she has done it. Remember, it is this party that will be the real Congress. Tell Captain Sangha this is what I have said. I came back, narrated to him. So this is how, then he said, anyway, I have to take my people into confidence. So conference after conference started in Garo Hills, you see. Then from Garo Hills, we went to Kohima. We met Hokishe Sharma. Hokishe Sharma gave his own story how his elder brother was killed mercilessly by the Naga militants because he was helping the Congress. So he said, on that day I decided that nothing to do with this Naga barbarism. They cut his fingers, they cut his nose, they cut his ears, they cut his hands, they cut his chopping like this. They killed him in the window, in the outyard of their own house. In the gaze of all the family members who are all crying. He said, I have got nothing to do with this Naga barbarism. So like this, you see, no? So this is what happened.
Sir, tell us something about how you finally, you went in to become a member of parliament. I mean, a boy who starts off on the banks of the river Dholai, it's a very eventful journey. Tell us something about your journey to become the member of parliament and how you actually became proactive to change the lives of the people of Northeast India.
You see, when Indira Gandhi declared emergency and went for bank nationalization, she sent Narasimha Rao, who later became Prime Minister of India. Narasimha Rao is from South. He's a veteran scholar, a master in 6 languages, including Sanskrit, Urdu, Hindi, etc. You see? He sent him, and he also made Siddhartha Shankar Rai from Bengal a cabinet minister without cabinet portfolio. A cabinet minister without portfolio. That is Indira Gandhi's ambassador at large. So Siddhartha Shankar Rai came, and this Congress Bhavan in Thana Road, Shillong, which was Assam Pradesh Congress Committee का एक छोटा district Congress committee था. See, this was to be upgraded as a Pradesh Congress committee. Now here, there was a space for, in the Congress constitution, intellectual members. That those who are scholars, intellectuals, those who know the history of the freedom struggle, one of them can be nominated straightway in the executive committee. So I attended this meeting and I asked many questions. Why the emergency has been declared? Why would have been? Then, while he was leaving the house, he told me that to meet him in Pinewood Hotel. I came and met him in Pinewood Hotel. Then he said, I'm going to give you your name as an intellectual member. You accept it. I said, okay, thank you, sir. This is how I became an intellectual member. So he went away. Then came Narasimha Rao to explain 20-point programs. Indira Gandhi's famous 20-point programs. So Narasimha Rao came. Narasimha Rao again, the meeting took place. I, as an intellectual member, explained about the 20-point programs. I wanted some clarifications. How we work about it, how should we go about it, and all these things. He said, you come and meet me in the Pinewood Hotel. I met him. He says, you are going to be a permanent member of this 20-program implementation committee. And with you will be Afstar Kharbuli and Salseng Marak, two of the great, you see, great supporters of Captain Williamson Sangma. He was very fond of them. Will be there. So this is how we started. This is how we started. And then what happened, you see, when the time came that Indira Gandhi decided to go for elections, she was found that it was going in a bad way. It is high time to call elections, otherwise things will go wrong. She found out that it is high time, it is better to call elections. So she called for election. At that time, I saw how big Captain Sangma's heart is. Captain Sangma said that I have a fellow in Tura, he is a practicing lawyer. See, he has been always burning my effigies because from day one, he was straightway he entered the Nationalist Congress Party. And with late Manik uh, Dash, who was killed, you didn't know how the assassination took place. The Manik Dash and he, they were always burning the effigies of Captain Sangma, who was doing a PHLC, All Party Hill Leaders Conference. They were all regionalists. Ah. So this is, he said, he is a congressman. Now that we have joined Congress, I think I should nominate him. He should be the first man to be given the nomination. So see, I could see what a broad-minded big man Captain Sangma is. And Vivilindo solidly supported it. He said, yes, he should be the one. So Purno Sangma was called and he was given the nomination. When Purno Sangma got the nomination, Purno was my student because while he was in St. Anthony's, in those days our economics was political economy. So there are papers in politics as well as in economics. And Purno Sangma, we found a very bright student. He used to come wearing a dhuti and a Punjabi, see, with a sandal. But you could notice he is a very bright flavor. From that day, he also used to ask sharp questions, so he used to answer. So there was some tie between us. So when Purno came, Purno was so happy that I am also there. That is how we started our journey together. Later on, Purno Sikip Sharma became a very big person. You see, Captain Sangma recommended Captain Sangma and Bibilindo, they decided to take turn taking over the ministry. Then Captain Sangma was sent to Mizoram as a lieutenant governor, and Purna Sangma became a secretary in the AICC. And there, Mrs. Gandhi found that this boy is very, very bright. So she used to consult him on anything relating to Northeast. She used to ask Purna Sangma. When in Olympic teams were going, he said, "You give me the names, consult." So Purna Sangma used to ring us up, where from, he used to collect names and give from all over the Northeast. So this is how Purna Sangma also rose to power. Later on, she even made Purna Sangma a cabinet member. It was not liked by the senior Congress people of Assam, including my dada, late Santosh Mohan Dev, because they are much more senior. This is how could you be given if we are not
Sir,
given?
just one question. Sir, you're
Hmm.
talking about a very interesting time in history.
Hmm.
At that particular point of time, there's also another momentous event that's taking place, and that is the liberation of Bangladesh. You know, I think, and rightly, you have been decorated with Friends of Bangladesh award as well. So, kindly tell us about your experience of the Liberation War of Bangladesh, 1971, and how you, became part of that process of Bangladesh liberation.
You see, during Bangladesh liberation, I tell you one thing. In Silchar, we regularly used to listen to this radio broadcast. If I remember correctly, Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay was of the radio program. A very booming voice. You see, one day we heard that Sri Aurobindo, শাশ্বত সনাতন ধর্মের পূজারী ঋষি অরবিন্দ পন্ডিচেরি আশ্রমে মহাপ্রয়াণ করেছে। We heard the broadcast. Now, why I mention about that broadcast? Because before his death, few days before his death, he was interviewed by All India Radio, and they asked him, "You were a revolutionary and then became a rishi, a saint, and you have all through your life you have worked for Bengal. What is happening to your Bengal? It is divided today. It is divided today, and what is in future now?" He said, "Don't worry, the day is not far when the process will start for reunification of Bengal." And we noticed that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman,
There's something wrong with
the
something wrong with you.
men who love
Shimon Ganj.
You can ask him. Sir, let us now turn your attention towards another momentous event that was taking place at the time when you were young and you were also becoming active in public life, and that was the liberation of Bangladesh from East Pakistan, 1971. Sir, tell us a little more about your role in that momentous event where a nation is being born, and your role in it specifically. And we know that you have been decorated with the Friends of Bangladesh Award. So, sir, kindly tell us. That would be a very, very interesting, story to hear from you. When started.
we made Bangladesh Muktijuddha Sahayak Samiti in Shillong, where Professor Basudev Datta Rai, the chairperson of the and secretary of the Professor Sangbadik Nilkamal Datta was there. Sahayak Samiti, we met. So I was made Secretary General of this Sahayak Samiti. It is in that capacity that we try to make all possible help available in kind, in cash, and also by helping the dead bodies of Mukti Shuddha to be buried, coordinating with Hussein brothers, Ahmed Hussein, Afzal Hussein brothers. We made all these kinds of. So when Indira Gandhi came to Shillong, she visited Shillong, she visited Calcutta, she went to Silchar, she visited all places. So when we came to Shillong, we had a meeting with her. And then she told me that she will give my name to some people. She did not name whom. But when they ask a question, if you think that the person who is to cross border from Bangladesh to India, from India to Bangladesh, then your word will be below. It will decide the issue. It was a big honor that was given to me. So this is how, when Bangladesh Muktijuddhas were crossing border, when our border security force, our army, paramilitary other force, there are CRPF also, whenever they accosted them, they used to mention my name. And they used to ring me up. So and so, is it okay? Yes, okay. This is how it started.
And then, as Bangladesh gained its freedom, sir, how did you all participate in the celebrations?
When Bangladesh gained freedom, you see, here from here, people went to Sylhet, went to Dhaka to participate in the celebrations. I, for one, I was not able to make it, but I had my college, I had my this thing, that thing, classes, everything. I did not go, but I was always coordinating who had to go, who had to say what. All the briefs are being prepared by us. While I took a very lead part there. I remember a very interesting story when Mahendra Mohan Chaudhary was the Chief Minister of Bengal. Mahendra Mohan Chaudhary, he made it very clear to Indira Gandhi, which Indira Gandhi did not like, that I cannot accept Brahmaputra Valley, any Bangladesh refugees, for obvious reasons. Because once they come, they will not go. So we have got problems with the Hindus as well as with Muslims. We do not like to engage in number. There is a strong feeling. I cannot do that, but yes, sir, you do. So it was done in Silchar, Parag Valley. It was done in Meghalaya, Balat, where the largest camp was there. See, it was done in every other place, not here. So this is how. What was the question? This is how it was happening.
And how you were part of it?
I was a part of it because I was coordinating all activities, making everything good. It is Shillong was headquarters. I was the headquarters chap who is coordinating everything. This is what I did.
Sir, the other thing that was also happening at this particular point of time, between, say, 1967 and 1972, was a hill state movement. You actually see the birth of the full-fledged state of Meghalaya. Sir, tell us something about how you became part of that hill state movement, and how basically the non-indigenous people, we know that the Khasi, Jaintias, Garos, they were participating wholeheartedly in this movement. but how the non-indigenous people also participated. Did they participate? And how did they participate in the Hill State movement?
You see, non-indigenous peoples are very much scared, definitely, but I decided to be with them and to protect them. I think without being an MLA, without being a minister, but being the secretary of the coordination committee of the Northeast Congress Committee, you see, I helped more than a minister. DN Joshi became a cabinet minister. He could not help that much what I could do. BK Rai was an MLA. He also did a lot of good work for the uh, refugees and non-indigenous people. He did a great service. But my service, Akramul from his younger brother Anisud, you see, all the Muslims in the uh, that area, Fulwadi, Rajwala, all this area, Tikila, they were very hostile because they did not want the breakup of East Pakistan, which the minorities considered as their protection. The theory was that a strong East Pakistan is a security for minority Muslims in India. So, but they gave all possible help to me because they followed me, my instructions, my advice. I used to stay with them, visit them, and move out. So this is how we organize, how we organized it. You see, and ultimately, I tell you, because of this, a time came when in Northeast India, all the states which were totally anti-Congress, totally given to regional parties, huh? You see, they all became Congress states. It so happened. It is because of this Congress coordination committee playing a big role, and I am this main author of the documents, the Northeast Congress Committee Secretary General's reports, which are only authored by me and approved by Captain Sangma or P.A. Sangma or Hokisha Sangma, Gegong Apang, P.K. Tungon, whoever became the president when time, you see, they all supported. So I saw this thing. I remember that when Arjun Singh, the famous, was the, I think he was once home minister also.
No, he was the MHRD minister. He was the
MHRD
education minister, MHRD minister. He was holding a number of portfolios in the Rajiv Gandhi government as well. Yes.
Yes. So he came to Shillong and they were a little late because the Congress Coordination Committee held a meeting with all the partners from the 6-7 northeastern states. Then Captain Williamson Sangma said that we had a meeting, but you come a little late. So I request Dr. B.V. Doctor to give a summary. So I just gave a summary. After what hitting my summary, A.K. Antony was there. Arjun Singh was there. Then they called me in room number 70, where A.K. Antony and the next room was Arjun Singh. They came together. They said, you have given a beautiful summary. How did you master so much of things? I say, I have learned from them. They are my gurus. He says, okay, henceforth, whatever you want, anything you want, you just write to me and it will be done. So this benefit I gave to many people who are having difficulties in transfer, in getting confirmation, in getting promotion. They got it. The moment I wrote, it was done. With A.K. Antony, even today, I have the same repo, he's still there. Such a nice person.
Sir, we started off this conversation talking about partition. Let me ask you a hypothetical situation. How do you actually look at partition affecting our lives. Had partition not happened, do you think lives would have been, different?
You see, this partition is very unnatural. Bengal is a delta, the largest delta in the world. A delta produces a civilization of its own. In 1915, here I may mention the Paris Conference, where all the big experts, they say that ecology cannot be divided. Even if you divide, it will set in motion a process by which it will be nullified. And today what I see, that this process is on, that it is going to be nullified. Because forces are gathering, huh? Winds are blowing very hard and fast. Huh? And forces are gathering. You see, today, this, remember what Great Kundu said? Look East policy for us is nothing but look South policy. Because south of Bangladesh, you go to Bangladesh, Myanmar, then you go on. You see, we must say, what if what a tremendous insight. See? And today we found that act this policy, Narendra Modi. If you want to act this policy, then you have to come to Bangladesh, Myanmar, South, Southeast Asia, and so on. See? Then upgrading of SAP. You see? Same. BIMSTEC, SAPTA. So many organizations are active, in which Asian Conference is also doing a lot of work. You see? Sabyasachi and his other members in the council, chairman of the council, Mr. Bidburua, they're all doing wonderful works, guided by other friends. You see? So, which is acknowledged by the External Affairs Ministry. They appreciate it, which has come to the notice of when our Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. He has praised openly the contribution of Asian Conference as a think tank for this area.
Sir, we have been having a conversation with you for over an hour now. Just one last point that I want you to reflect on, and that probably could be a very, very important springboard for how we look at this conversation series. And that is, how does one necessarily look at these reflections on partition as relevant to our times? Because now, as you know, the Prime Minister has said that we not only need to celebrate 75 years of independence, we also need to remember partition. And so, therefore, how do you see this remembering of partition as being an important milestone in the way forward in the journey of India in the next 50 years?
Divide you for a minute this time.
What is happening today? I tell you, what is happening today in India, in Indian subcontinent, subcontinental India? What is happening today in Afghanistan? What is happening today in USA? What is happening today in Europe, America, Australia? You see? All France, All these things point out to one thing, that we have to reorganize ourselves globally.
Nice.
Reorganize ourselves globally. And India, being the main power in Asia, whoever rules Asia rules the world. That is how British rule the world. India has to play a very major role. And I have a feeling that India will not fall short of it. There are already some actions the present Prime Minister of India has taken, which is what wonderfully well. There are already some what that Bengal Mamata Banerjee has done, which is working very well. And Mamata Banerjee and Narendra Modi, whether they want it or not, the history demands, and by the inexorable logic of events that is unfolding, they will have to act in cooperation or in opposition to achieve the same goal, that let India, the eternal India, with all its beauty and grandeur, come back to life.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that's a very, very positive note to complete the conversation. It's lovely interacting with you. But this is just the beginning of this series of conversations that we are having at Asian Confluence. And this is basically India at 75. This is a series that we are initiating, and it actually proposes to combine two dimensions: one, India at 75, and partition, 75 years of partition. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. We intend to continue our conversation with you in the days ahead. You are a treasure house of information and inspiration. We from Asian Confluence wish you the very best of your health and happiness. And we hope and pray that we can get the benefit of your wisdom in the years ahead as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you all working for the Asian Conference, its executive directors, Sabyasachi, its chairman, Madan Bezbulwa, their other colleagues, to everybody, thank you so much. Doing wonderful work. Carry on. Wish you Godspeed.